Hi everyone, thanks for joining our webinar today on new PMP solutions. I have with me Matt Mangriotis. He's our product manager for the 450 line, and so he's got a pretty great presentation for you today. As always, if you have any questions, type them into the text box on to the right, and we'll get to them throughout the presentation or at the end if we didn't get to it. So without further ado, here's Matt.
Thanks, Colin. Again, this is Matt Mangriotis. I'm the Director of Product Management and in charge of the PMP portfolio. And I'm just going to walk through a couple of the new releases and the latest and greatest updates for this portfolio. A lot of you have probably seen a lot of this before, but some of it may be new. So here we go. So as you know, with Cambium Networks, we have a world-class wireless portfolio of solutions. We go all the way from the large-scale point-to-point links down to the access layer stuff with both the PMP 450 line as well as the ePMP product line. And then we've also recently introduced the Wi-Fi portfolio, the Pilot series of products, which are great complements to the access layer and last mile gear that we have. And all of this is tied together with CN Maestro, our management and troubleshooting and tool that kind of manages everything we do. It's a great tool and it keeps getting better. With the recent releases, more and more functionalities being built in to do things that otherwise you wouldn't be able to do with these wireless products. So again, another view of the entire portfolio. We have all the way from very, very long links, long distance links with the unlicensed PTP 650. We have the entire microwave line from 6 to 38 gigahertz in the PTP 820. Those can shoot really long distances where needed and have some really high performing and high capacity links. So great products there on the PTP side of things for backhauling that data out. And then in the center box, which we're focused on today, is the PMP 450 product line for access layer stuff. So multi-point products that can achieve what you need to do and provide solutions for that access layer in your kind of the last mile to get to the home. And then coming inside the home, at the short-range stuff, we have the CN Pilot series of equipment. We have both enterprise products, which we have outdoor and indoor enterprise products, and lots of new things coming out every day on those guys. We had a recent launch about a week ago talking about all the latest and greatest 802.11 AC Wave 2 products that are upcoming in this portfolio, as well as a more affordable indoor unit, the R190 that's coming. So lots of exciting things happening in the Pilot space as well. And these are great, as I mentioned, great complements to the PMP 450 series. You can actually power up and utilize that R series products to both power and to provide the inside the home Wi-Fi for our 450 products. And again, all of this is managed under the CN Maestro cloud or on-premise application that does lots of functionality, not only monitoring and troubleshooting of the equipment, but now programming, configuration. You can do lots of different things with Maestro, and we're improving that every day as well. So here's a look at the recent roadmap for the 450 product line. I do want to mention a couple things. Recently, we introduced the Medusa product. I'll spend a minute talking about that. I'm sure everyone who's on this webinar has heard about that and is familiar with it, but I'll cover it a little bit just for those that may not be. And then I'll spend a bit of time on the Blue Box, the 15.1 software release that was just made official on May 8th. So very recent. We added a couple great features, improved performance across the entire portfolio. Really good stuff. So let's talk a little bit about that. To spend a minute on Medusa, CN Medusa is the technology that we've employed. We put it into this product. This product is called the PMP 450M. It's a base station or an access point that simply by changing out this access point, you can achieve 3 times, maybe 4 times the capacity of an existing 450 sector by allowing massive multi-user MIMO capabilities. What this means is that not only am I talking to my subscriber, I can talk to more than one subscriber across that 90-degree sector at the same point in time using the same time slot. So effectively, we have the possibility of connecting up to 7 SMs at the same time, or transferring data from 7 SMs. In reality, that amounts to, in a decent loaded sector, it amounts to 3 to 4 times the capacity. That's what we've seen through numerous field trials and data that's coming back from active customers, and that's kind of what we expect to see. This results in really great spectral efficiency. We've shown numbers above 400 megabits per second in a 20 megahertz channel. That's kind of unheard of spectral efficiency. And when you combine that with the ability to do back-to-back channel reuse, you can start talking about numbers like 40 bits per second per hertz of spectral efficiency. These are industry-leading spectral efficiency numbers, and when spectrum is scarce, this is really a great thing to have in your back pocket to help keep loading up sectors, keep adding customers without having to use additional spectrum. All of this can be done by using your existing SMs. That's another great feature of the 450M. If you have investment in the 450 platform, you can continue using those SMs and build the network by simply changing out the access point and adding more customers. And it's great in terms of uplink link stability. We're adding to the uplink link budget with this product because not only are the receive sensitivities of this product better than the existing 450 and 450i, but we have beamforming in the uplink, which allows you to mitigate any interference that's coming out there by really narrowing that beam and forming a beam towards just the subscriber of interest. All of this is done with advanced processing capability. So there's over 100,000 PPS in this product, so you never have an issue with small packets or restrictions on throughput due to processing. All this is contained in a simple device. There are 0 RF cables to connect or weatherproof. There's 0 points of failure from those cables. So it's a great enclosed device. It's a little bit bigger than our existing access points, but it is a single device that can be mounted and single tower cost for rental and that sort of thing. And really, you can deploy it with a single Ethernet cable that provides both power and data. It's a great addition to the platform, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of that this existed and is an option for you where you need the density and the throughput associated. So let's talk about 15.1. 15.1 is the latest software release for the 450 platform. It covers all the products in the 450 platform. A couple of the main features are listed here on the page. Native Ethernet IP. So when this option is enabled, a device connected to that Ethernet port of the device can always access the radio via the default IP, meaning 169.254.1.1 is the default IP of the radio. Even if you change that IP, you can always access it if you're plugged into the device physically, if this option is enabled. This option won't be enabled by default because that's kind of a change from what we've done in the past. We didn't want to confuse existing users by changing that default setting. So you need to go enable that if you want to have this capability. Ping test. So we added ping test directly into the GUI and what we call a ping watchdog. And what the ping watchdog does is if you can set it at a regular interval, and the ping watchdog will actually ping the device. And if it cannot reach it, it will try to reset the device to bring it back to a state where it can. So it's just another maintenance type tool, troubleshooting tool to make sure that that device is still responsive. And then I have a couple of additional slides on the other features, which include 40 meg channels and ATEX HAZLOC. So we added more channel sizes to the platform. Channel size flexibility, I think, is a pretty important feature, but it's often overlooked. So some competitive products out there, hey, we support 40 meg, we support 80 meg channels, but they can't even support some of the smaller channel sizes. So we actually added a 15 meg channel on the 900 megahertz product. That may be useful for you. In 900, you only have 26 megahertz of spectrum to play with. Generally speaking, you're not going to have a 20 megahertz channel available to you. But in some areas, if you have, let's say, a point-to-point link in a very remote location, you may get close to 20 meg channels, but there may be some interference at the low end or the high end. Maybe 15 looks better, and you want to take full advantage of whatever you have. So we launched a 15 meg channel on 900 in case you need it. And then we also made sure we had the 30 and 40 megahertz channels become available wherever we could do it. And this is mainly on the 5 gigahertz spectrum. You can find these channel sizes available. But with a 40 megahertz channel, you can see the throughput tests that we performed, and this is not the link test, but rather a speed test to a speed test server. And in PTP mode, which is the top graph, you can see in a 50-50 duty cycle, we're getting just about 300 megabits of throughput. We tested under lab conditions to over 310 megabits using this configuration. So that's, again, a 5 millisecond frame. You can see the latency is about 5 milliseconds. And we're doing about 300 megs. In a point-to-multipoint mode with 2.5 milliseconds frames, which is kind of a more common configuration that we found, with a 75% downlink duty cycle, we're still getting about 270 megs of throughput. And again, this is speed test server, not necessarily just the link test. So this is true TCP Ethernet speeds.
Hey Matt, what channel size are these tests done in? Do you know?
This is 40 megahertz.
40 megahertz.
Yeah, these are 40 megahertz tests. So what we're showing here is just the ability of the radios now to handle much more data using wider channels.
Great, thanks.
Another feature that was brought forth with the 15.1 also is the ATEX and HAZLOC certified radios. So they are separate model numbers, and we do have the proper certifications from both ATEX and HAZLOC, which are two separate kind of governing bodies. We also have IECEX, which is kind of where the ATEX is generally speaking in the Europe region, and HAZLOC is generally speaking in the Americas, and then IECEX is generally speaking where those are not. And so we have certifications from all three bodies, and these are available now. Again, they're separate model numbers, and they're restricted in software to how much power they can do, depending on which gas groups you are qualified to use in a given area. But where they're needed, this is a very essential piece of certification that prevents explosions in dangerous areas. And really what this allows you to do is deploy the radios without external enclosures. That would be the alternative to doing this. So it's a great addition to the platform where needed. So what's upcoming? That's what's out there now. What are we doing in the near future? So I'm going to talk a little bit about what's coming up in this platform, in this portfolio, that'll really help get things moving again. The 450B. So we talked about having a brand new subscriber module in the portfolio this year. It is coming. It will be available in July. We will launch this. We'll have a couple launches based on this architecture. The first launch is what we're calling a mid-gain antenna, similar to the Force 180 and the ePMP product line, but this is a PMP 450 mid-gain, and we're calling this product will be called the 450B. In July, we'll have available the 16 dB mid-gain 450B. What this contains, what this gives you, is enhanced packet processing. It is a brand new FPGA. It's the same FPGA that we're using in the 450i product. So you'll get the same performance as far as packet processing performance. It does support the entire band in one unit, meaning 49 to 5925 frequencies. So it will support all of those bands in there. It is a single gigabit Ethernet port. So no longer are we restricted by a fast Ethernet port. It's a gigabit Ethernet port. There's no secondary aux port, but there is still a direct 3.5 millimeter audio jack for use of that alignment tone. If you use the alignment tone to align the product, then that will be perfect for anyone to plug a headset into with no adapters needed. It'll put out that tone on the 3.5 millimeter audio jack. We did choose to reuse that 30-volt power scheme, the canopy style power scheme. It's the same power supply as the current 450 subscriber modules, but we did add a little feature in there to make it polarity agnostic. What that means is that some of our competitors, namely Ubiquity, has a reverse. A couple of the pins are reversed, and that won't destroy the unit. You can use it if the amperage is high enough. If the power supply supplies enough wattage, then it could be used with this. These guys use about 11 watts of power, 11 to 12 watts. So it's not all of the Ubiquity stuff's going to work with these guys. So you got to make sure you check that. But the polarity agnosticity is there. So there's no issue there if you do plug in the wrong power supply or a reversed polarity power supply. As I mentioned, the 450B mid-gain will be around in July. in October, we will have a high gain version, which is very similar to the Force 200. That will be about 25 dB. And you can see the expected prices there in MSRPs. There are no throughput caps on these guys. They're all unlimited throughput. So we're getting away from the license structure on the throughput tiers. Moving on. In 15.2, which we're expecting in July also, late July, early August, we will have in conjunction with that, we will launch a mobile installer app. This app will be available first on Android and then in iOS. But what this app will allow you to do, there's some kind of screenshots there. This will allow you to pre-configure DSM, set up, you can evaluate APs, you can set the color code, management VLANs if necessary. It really helps with alignment. You can do alignment directly from it. The alignment screen will update and refresh every 0.25 seconds or every 250 milliseconds in order to give you kind of real-time feedback on the receive powers. We can upgrade and configure the devices. We can run the link test, and it'll actually store those link tests in Maestro so that you know what you were doing when you installed that radio. The installers really don't have to have a whole lot of experience. They can do all of this following through on the app. What this allows you to do is reduce installation time. You don't need to do any pre-configuration. This is kind of out of the box. You can use this app and get it all configured, upgraded, scanned, aligned, everything done. And it eliminates errors, right? So you don't have to type anything in. The latitude and longitude will be stored in the device and in Maestro based on the GPS from your phone. So it's already available there. Very, very cool stuff. So we're excited to get this app out the door with 15.2. The installer never even needs to access the device UI if necessary. You can still from that app. You can go to using your phone. You can go to the web browser and go to the device UI. In conjunction with the app, what you're going to need is a battery pack that plugs into the radio, and we will source that from a third party. It looks like at this point. That will have a battery as well as a Wi-Fi module that will allow that phone to connect to it. So we can answer questions on that when they come around if there's any questions on the mobile installer app. So Cambium, just to wrap things up, Cambium offers complete solutions. We're trying to make sure that we're not offering just a product, a new product to the portfolio, but we're trying to tie things together to make them overall easier to install, easier to use, easier to maintain. And with that in mind, we've launched very recently what we're calling Cambium Care. What Cambium Care is an enhanced support service. We have a couple different methods or a couple different models of Cambium Care. Today, Cambium Care Standard is what you would refer to as the standard warranty. When you buy a product, you have a 1-year standard warranty for most of our products, and that is still going to be maintained. If you choose, you can upgrade that standard to Cambium Care Plus or Cambium Care Prime. And what that gives you is 24/7 phone support, as well as some other benefits as noted on the slide here. Accelerated case management. You can escalate to Tier 2, Tier 3 engineering for problems that you have. We can offer network monitoring, reviewing networks, optimizing, that sort of thing. So there's lots that can be done by upgrading to Cambium Care Plus and Cambium Care Prime. So there's options now for enhancing the level of support that you get from Cambium. And it would be remiss if I didn't talk about the community for a second. We always want to encourage folks that are joining the webinars and learning about our products to go to the community, join the community. It's a very vibrant and active community, and we have knowledge base with tons and tons of information that we keep adding to every day, every week. I'm on there all the time. You'll see me on there as Cambium Matt. If you have any questions that you don't want to ask here, feel free to go out there, reach out, and ask them. There's already threads on pretty much everything I've talked about here in the webinar today, but I do want to point out that that's there. So from our main page, just click on Community, and you can check that out as well. And of course, we're all over social media, Twitter, Facebook. Join the fun and check out all the latest things. Keep track of what we're doing. That's it for me. I know it was a little short today. I wanted to keep it short, and I'm offering some time to ask any kind of questions you might have. Colin, is there any questions come in at all?
You know, not yet. I just wanted to reiterate what Matt was saying about the community pages, because sometimes I understand it's not always easy to think of things on the spot. And just so you know, this webinar has been recorded. If you ever want to re-listen to it later or see what Matt was talking about, and you will find that again in the community. We have a webinar archive, as well as them being sorted out by specific product lines. And you could always expect an answer from someone within a day if you were to ask a question to the community. But since we don't have any questions right now, figure go ahead and end it for now. So thanks again for your attendance, and thank you, Matt, for your presentation.
No problem. Thanks everyone for joining.